In February 2021, the Texas power grid failed. Temperatures dropped below freezing. Over 200 people died in 4 days. Not from violence, not from starvation, from a 4-day blackout in a modern American state, with the rest of the country still functioning and sending help. Now imagine no one's coming. Imagine it's not just Texas. Imagine the blackout has no end date. That's what this video prepares you for. The first 72 hours of a total blackout, hour by hour. What most people do wrong and what you should do instead. Let's begin. Hour 0. The lights go out. Most people assume it's temporary, a blown transformer, a car accident. They light a candle, check their phone, and wait. This is normalcy bias, the assumption that because things have always been fine, they'll stay fine. This assumption is your first enemy. Here's the rule. If power isn't restored within 1 hour and you can't get a clear explanation from authorities, assume the worst and begin your protocol. In the first hour, while everyone else is refreshing Twitter and calling the power company, you should be doing 3 things. First, fill every container with water. Bathtubs, pots, bottles, everything. The water in your pipes is still there, but if pumping stations lose backup power, that pressure disappears. You have hours, maybe less, to capture it. Second, know exactly where your emergency supplies are. Not vaguely, exactly. You should find them in complete darkness. Third, and this is where most preppers fail, don't turn on lights. Don't signal to the neighborhood that you have power, batteries, or preparation. The Grayman principle begins the moment the grid fails. Gather information while remaining invisible. Hours 1 through 6, the confusion phase. Most people are still in denial. They're annoyed, not afraid. They're joking about missing their shows. Let them. During these hours, you're quietly taking inventory. How much water do you actually have? How much food that doesn't require refrigeration? What medications and how long will they last? You're also listening. Are there sirens more than usual? Is there traffic or have the roads gone quiet? If you have a battery-powered radio, start monitoring. Not constantly, conserve batteries, but every few hours. Try to understand the scope. Is this local, regional, national? The answer determines everything. One more thing, eat the perishables. Your fridge keeps food cold for about 4 hours if you don't open it. Your freezer lasts 24 to 48 hours if it's full. Make a plan. Eat what spoils fastest first. And if you're thinking about firing up the grill, understand that cooking smells travel. In a silent, blacked-out neighborhood, the smell of food becomes a signal. We'll come back to this. Hours 6 through 12, the psychological battleground. The novelty has worn off. Phones are dying. The house is getting uncomfortable. Children are asking questions. Partners are irritable. This is where most people break. Your job is to manage 2 things, the physical environment and the emotional environment. Physically, temperature regulation. In summer, move to the lowest level, close blinds, minimize activity. In winter, consolidate into the smallest room, hang blankets over windows, use body heat. Do not run your car in the garage for heat. Carbon monoxide kills silently. More people die from this in blackouts than almost anything else. This is also when you think about security, not because threats are imminent, but because your mindset needs to shift. Lock doors you normally leave unlocked. Identify vulnerable windows. Think about what you'd do if someone tried to get in. Hours 12 through 24, the first night. True darkness is disorienting. No streetlights, no neighbors' glow, nothing. This has 2 effects. First, it's unsettling. Humans aren't nocturnal. Expect anxiety, difficulty sleeping, jumpiness. Second, the darkness is your friend. If no one can see, no one can see your advantages. The darkness is concealment. One light in a blacked-out neighborhood is a beacon. It says, someone here has resources. My recommendation, one low candle per room, only when necessary. Cover your windows. Even small light leakage is visible from far away in true darkness. Without electricity's constant hum, sounds carry differently too. You'll hear conversations from houses away, footsteps on sidewalks. This is useful intelligence. Listen, but make sure you're not making sounds others can hear. Hour 24, the milestone. If power isn't back, normalcy bias starts cracking. People understand this might not be temporary. Watch the neighborhood. People will leave their houses looking for information. They'll walk to gas stations and grocery stores, only to find them closed or emptied. Not from looting necessarily, but from panic buying by people who didn't prepare. By 24 hours, if this is regional or national, the supply chain has stopped. The trucks can't pump fuel. The warehouses can't process orders. The opportunity to prepare has passed. At 24 hours, reassess everything: water status, food status, medication, security. Because after a full day without resolution, the social contract starts to thin. Not everywhere, not with everyone, but at the margins. People who were already desperate become more desperate. Hours 24 through 48, the critical mistake. Here's where preppers go wrong. You're going to feel an urge to help, to share, to organize your neighbors, to be the community leader. Resist it. In a short-term emergency, cooperation makes sense, but in a prolonged blackout with no end in sight, advertising yourself as prepared is advertising yourself as a target. Here's what happens. You become the guy who was ready. At first, people thank you. Then requests start. Can we have some water, some food, medicine? You help because you're decent. Word spreads. More people ask. Your supplies dwindle. Eventually, you say no. That's when gratitude becomes resentment. In their minds, you had more than you needed. You could have helped more. You're hoarding. And they might come looking. This is why Grayman philosophy emphasizes invisibility from the start. Not because neighbors are evil, but because scarcity changes the math of human behavior. During day 2, stay low. Appear to be struggling like everyone else. If you have a generator, run a loud decoy you curse at publicly, while your real system runs silently inside. If you're eating well, don't let anyone see. This isn't deception for its own sake. This is survival through strategic invisibility. Hours 48 through 72, the decision. By day 3, you're in a different world. People who didn't prepare are genuinely suffering. Dehydration is setting in. Diabetics are rationing insulin. The elderly and very young are most vulnerable. You may see the first signs of social breakdown, theft, people taking what they need because they've decided survival matters more than rules. This is not the time to play hero. The Grayman is never in the room where the bad thing happens because the Grayman saw it coming and left 5 minutes earlier. At 72 hours without resolution, you face the biggest decision: stay or go. Staying makes sense if you have supplies, defensible space, and a reasonable expectation the crisis will end. Leaving makes sense if your location is becoming untenable, your supplies won't last, or you have somewhere better to go. The wrong answer is waiting too long to decide. Leaving on day 3 is infinitely easier than day 7, when roads are clogged and desperation has peaked. You should have a predetermined trigger, a condition that tells you it's time to leave. For some, it's the first gunshot in the neighborhood. For others, it's a timeline. If power isn't back in 72 hours, we leave at dawn on day 4. Decide now, not during the crisis. Here's the bottom line. The first 72 hours aren't primarily about physical survival. 72 hours without power won't kill a healthy adult who has water. They're about positioning,
about decisions, about staying invisible so that if this extends to day 7, day 14, day 30, you're still in the game. Most people will spend those hours reacting, waiting, hoping someone fixes it. You'll spend them acting, preparing, observing, staying invisible, staying alive. That's the difference. And if you want more tactical survival strategies that go beyond the obvious, subscribe. Because when the grid goes down, you won't have the ability to search for answers. You'll only have what's already in your head. Make sure it's enough.